In today's final video, I'm going to share with you what the blind spot is that's behind the old story that keeps you feeling confused, frustrated, or even hopeless when it comes to dating and relating. Plus, I'll be teaching you a three-step process that helps you release the grip of this old story. And from there, I'll also be identifying the most powerful shift that you can make starting today that ensures success in creating a new story that's filled with great love. Make sure you have something to take notes with, and welcome to the final part of my complimentary video series, Shine the Light on What's Holding You Back from Love, the 6 surprising reasons why conscious women struggle. I'm Gabriella Taylor, so let's dive in. So research shows us that 80% of what creates our experience is caused by our internal state. That means our beliefs, our self-talk, our assumptions, default feelings. You can see through this video series how the power of updating your relationship model, understanding your intimacy model, the messages that you've been subconsciously programmed with, everything having to do with your perception of love. You see how all of these things, they go into creating 80% of what makes up your relationship experience. And the reality is 20% of our experience is actually formed by circumstances. And so what I want to share with you today has to do with your love story, the story you tell yourself about love. So we all have a story about love. Maybe you've been single for a long time. Maybe you've never had a significant long-term relationship. Maybe you married and you divorced young, or you're even widowed. Maybe you wonder what's wrong with you, or even fear that maybe a relationship just isn't possible for you, or you feel like you'll always be single. Or maybe you're at a stage in your life where you're successful. You have money, you have amazing friends, you're committed to doing your personal development work, you're doing beautiful work in the world, yet you're worried that your light is intimidating. You're worried that perhaps you'd have to settle, that you would never actually meet a match. Or maybe you find that you're married, that you're in a relationship where you secretly dream about leaving, but you'd rather stay than be alone. However, you assume that it'll never change. Or maybe you find that you're in your wisdom years. You want to share these golden years of your life with someone, yet you worry that you're too old or that it's too late. Or maybe you're vibrant and people in your age range are just, well, too old. Or you assume that you'll never meet anyone in your age that's actually a good fit for you. So underneath each of these concerns that I've just listed, whether you see yourself here or you have another concern, there's actually a deeper story playing out. So let's dive into blind spot number 6, your love story. So your love story, it's the story that you tell yourself about relationships, and it actually tells us 2 things: what you feel is possible or what you fear is impossible. So your love story, it's based on what you've already experienced and what you fear you'll continue to attract in the future. And it's all shaped by your old interpretations having to do with your past experiences. Your perception of love, which, as you know, it's the lens of the limiting beliefs about what you deserve that I shared with you in the last video. And it's shaped by your intimacy model, which I also introduced to you earlier in the series. So the question is your love story one of what you fear is impossible, or what you feel deep in your heart is possible? I'm going to say that again because I really want you to hear this. So look at, what is the story that you tell yourself inside? Not the one that your conscious mind has rehearsed that's filled with your aspirations of your vision of love, but the story that you tell yourself in your quietest moments, maybe when you're feeling kind of low. It's the one that's rumbling behind the scenes. So the question is your love story one of what you fear is impossible, or is it what you feel deep in your heart is entirely possible for you? So the way that we find out what our true love story is, and it's not necessarily the love story or the aspirations that you spoke about in your vision of love from your clearest self of what you aspire to. What your love story is actually the one that's rumbling around in the back of your mind. That's the one that we're looking for, because that's the one that holds the power. So the way that we're going to find out what your love story is to imagine Imagine that you're complaining to a girlfriend. Look for where you use the words such as I always or I never. So, for example, for me, my story was that I never attracted emotionally available men that would stay and that I would always have to be alone. And that was fueled by my history. So it's what I feared. It was something that I definitely feared replicating and experiencing again. It was informed by my perception of love. So, of course, I kept unconsciously collecting evidence that reinforced this and made it true. How did I make it true? By guess what? Continuing to call in emotionally unavailable men who never stayed. And it wasn't until my last major breakup, it was the kind that was just horrible, the kind that would get me by my knees and have me just collapse, on the floor of a restroom in a department store because I was just so overcome by grief, like that kind, just sobbing, 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 sobbing. But it was something through that breakup that something shifted in me. I began relating to my heartache as a doorway for a breakthrough. I began to ask myself, what can I learn from this? If life is truly for me, how can I learn from this? Instead of asking myself, why is this happening to me? What's the matter with me? And in that moment, I began creating a new story of possibility. In my programs, I walk women through an intimate 3-part process to release the grip of the old story, and I'm going to give you a taste of it here. Here's the most powerful shift that you can make starting today that will ensure your success in creating a new story that is filled with great love. So step one, make the old story conscious. This is where you want to look for, where you tell yourself, I always or I never. And take a moment to pause this video if you need, because it's really important that you get this. And then move on to step two. Step two, be a mirror of truth for yourself and tell yourself a new story that directly contradicts your old story based on what's actually true, because chances are your old story of I always attract emotionally unavailable men, I'll never be with a partner that I can trust and rely upon, chances are it's not true. So you want to turn it around and tell yourself, be a mirror of truth for yourself. The truth is, extraordinary men are everywhere. The truth is, my needs, my wants, my desires for a long-term partnership are more than available. The truth is I deserve great love. So take a moment and write down, what is the truth? And now when you're ready for step three, model this truth by creating a power statement where you see yourself embodying the new story. For example, I am honoring my heart, speaking up on my own behalf, taking care of my needs, and I'm sharing myself openly with a beautiful soul. So this is such a powerful process, and I invite you to take your time with it because it truly has the capacity to open you up. It gives you the direction on what you're releasing, what you're naming as the new truth, and how you can affirm your ability to live into it, where you can start making some conscious choices that actually reflect and reinforce the new story. So this concludes my complimentary 6-part video series. It has been such an honor to be with you over these past 6 videos. I pray that you listen to them, you put them into practice, and you too begin experiencing an openness in your ability to truly receive extraordinary love. And if this is something that you would like some more support with, please feel free to sign up for my program waitlist. I would love to walk with you into creating a relationship with yourself and with another that matches your light, not your shadow. So until then, here's to your extraordinary love.